let's rock and roll. Let's get right into it. Hey, Fernando. Hey, Susan. Let's get right into it by going over my favorite, which is what the heck are we doing? What are we going to do today? So I just wanted to set up a little agenda. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to introduce ourselves. Check, check. We already did a lot of that. Brilliant. We are going to go over 3 checks and balances that you should absolutely have when it comes to accountability. We're going to go through red flags. These are like things that I see people doing that I have done myself, that other people catch me on, that I'm like, don't make the same mistakes I did. I've read all the books and listened to all the podcasts for you. You don't have to do that. Copy my homework. These are the red flags that I have identified and picked out. Same with accountability partner recommendations, and a little outline to help you move yourselves right along. So why do I love giving that agenda? Because I am a New Yorker at heart and I hate not knowing what's coming up next. I like to know when the subway's coming. I like to know when things are on time. It's my type A personality coming out. I'm very sorry. But that is the workshop outline for today. Again, do not wait for questions, comments, points. Put it in the chat. If you see my eyeballs going from looking at you to looking at the chat, to looking at you, to looking at the chat, it's because I'm looking for your comments and your questions. And we're going to throw them up here and we're going to share and we're going to collaborate. Sometimes I feel like you see the word workshop and people are like, sit back. This is not a sit back. This is a sit forward. This is a sit forward. We're typing, we're commenting, we're helping, we're leaning in. No Sheryl Sandberg reference needed, but let's move on about why is accountability even a topic that we're covering? Why does it matter? What's going on? It matters because motivation, a lot of times we think motivation is what moves us to our goals. Like the motivation is the big why. Why do you continue to work at something? Why do you keep on doing those things at a certain time? And the thing is, motivation is awesome, magical. We love that. But the sneaky thing is that motivation can sometimes run out. And sometimes you wake up and you don't really have a lot of motivation that day. Okay. Motivation is not a guaranteed source of fire. It's not that it's not great. It's just not necessarily there every single day. And so one of 2 things happen. You either wake up in the morning and you are motivated. You're like, I can't wait to go to the gym, or I can't wait to do that proposal, or I can't wait to whatever it is your goal was. And you wake up naturally motivated, or you have to kind of get yourself in to the mojo. You got to kind of like talk yourself into it, get yourself into it. So I'm curious, I would actually love to hear from you. How do you stay motivated? Like on days where you wake up and you think about that big goal, no matter what that big goal was, but you woke up that day and you're kind of not feeling it. You're kind of not like jumping out of bed ready to do that thing. What are some either sayings that you tell yourself? What are some tactics that you use with yourself to get yourself motivated, to stay motivated on a day where you're like, Kim, I woke up on the other side of the bed today and I am not feeling it, not feeling it. So I love this from Jen, knowing the why. That is so good to help us like stay motivated. I love Elizabeth's honesty here, which is there are just days where it's like, I'm not motivated. I'm not into it. How do I do that? That's true. I love Rachel's do the hard stuff. So true. I love that saying, and maybe you guys have already heard it. Eat the frog first, which basically means whatever the hardest thing is of your day, the thing that you're kind of like not looking forward to or putting off, doing that first, kind of getting it over with. So I like Rachel's point here about getting it done. Start with physical activity. This is so getting unstuck. I love that term, unstuck, because we feel it, right? There are days where you just wake up and you're like, ooh, I'm in the mud. I woke up and it's a muddy day. I'm in the mud today. So how do I get unstuck? How do I keep moving? How do I keep going? That is so true. Ice cold showers. Magda, I am not sure if you have heard of Wim Hof, the Iceman. I'm pretty sure his documentary is on Netflix. If it's not on Netflix, I think it's on Amazon Prime. Anyways, I've listened to him on a bunch of podcasts. He swears by ice cold showers or ice baths and all that sort of thing to like trigger your nervous system and your bloodstream and all that stuff. So there is a little something to that there. It's a little hard for me, especially in the winter, because it's already so cold. So the thought of doing a cold shower on top of cold, I'm like, I'm just going to shiver to death, but maybe that's what helps get you unstuck. Not sure about that, but it's helpful to hear kind of what gets you unstuck, what gets you motivated. Also, maybe copy someone. Like if it's working for Magda, like it might be working for you. So share, because somebody might see something and be like, oh, ice showers, or like, oh, remembering my why, or oh, eating the frog, like whatever it is for you. We're all here to copy each other's homework. So something that you share might help somebody else. Getting in the right mindset. Huge, Patricia. Huge getting in the right mindset, especially on a day where you feel stuck or not into it. I will share for me, this is like Kim's version when I wake up in the mud and when I get stuck. I sort of am very similar to like a small child, like a kindergartner or a 5-year-old. I do best with rewards. You know what I mean? Like if I can talk myself into like a cookie in the afternoon, or maybe like one of my favorite lattes, like a little splurge where I go out and buy it for $6 instead of making it for myself. Like I'm a carrot at the end of the stick girl. That's just me. That's kind of like my thing. And I say that because there's 3 types of basically categories that can motivate you. One is punishment, right? So some people work really well. If you've ever seen any sort of like a drill sergeant, like, if you don't do this, you're going to give me 100 push-ups and I'm going to yell at you and I'm going to make you do it. And for some people that fires them up. They're like, you yell at me, the more you yell at me, the more kind of I'm getting fired up. So there's that punishment. If I don't do something bad's going to happen. And that's a motivator. Here's a really unique one that a friend of mine did a while ago. And I don't tend to get political on here, but I will just say this and I'm, whatever. He said to himself, I have a goal in mind. And if I don't work towards that goal, I have to put, I think it was like $5 a day into this jar for any day that he didn't do the thing that he said he was going to do. And then at the end of the 2 months, he was going to take all the money and donate it to a cause that was the exact opposite of what he believed in. So for instance, if you were like, I believe in the environment and saving the turtles and the manatees and the whales, he was going to take that money and say, I'm going to go invest in oil, or like an oil dredging company that I know is not so great. So really taking a cause you believe in and saying, okay, I'm going to punish myself and say, if I don't do this thing, something bad's going to happen on the other side. Or in that case, him donating to a cause that, maybe wasn't something that he really believed in. So punishment is one of those things. The next one is rewards, which is kind of what I was talking about. Maybe you promise yourself that cookie. Maybe you promise yourself a nap or 5 extra minutes of TV, or reading your favorite book at night, a few extra chapters. So really saying, if I do this, then I'm going to reward myself with that. And then last but not least is the type where it's not necessarily punishment and it's not necessarily rewards. It's more other humans. It's like, I just need another human to keep me accountable, because the rewards and punishment, a lot of that can be done solo, right? In the example I said where he was putting dollars in the jar, or my example where I promised myself a treat, that doesn't really involve other humans. It really involves yourself. So the third category is like, I really like Kim, I really need another human. I need Caroline. I need Anna. I need Michael keeping me accountable to do this thing that I'm feeling a little in the mud about. Like like today I just woke up and whatever it is that I told myself I wanted to do, like I need Jen to keep me accountable so that I know that I do that today. and you're not consistently one type. So again, for me, I fluctuate between rewards and other humans. There's some days where I wake up and say like, yep, I'm feeling a little stuck, but I know if I can like reward myself, I'll get there. Then there are other mornings where honestly, a lot of the times I end up putting it on Instagram stories. You know, if you follow me there, if you don't, what are you doing? Please follow me there. So we can be friends and talk to each other. A lot of times, sometimes my accountability will end up there. Well, I'll wake up, I'll feel a little stuck. I'll know that there's something I want to do, go for a run or whatever. And I'll say, oh gosh, guys, hold me accountable. Like by 5 o'clock, I've got to do this run. And then thankfully, people will message me back saying like, did you go for that run? What happened? Keeping you accountable. Did you do it? So I fluctuate between rewards and other humans. Key fact taking from our goal setting workshop is you need to figure out what accountability type you are and what works best for you. And remember that can change, and you might be a mix. I'm a mix of two. You might be a mix of three. You might just say, it's really just this one that works well for me. Figuring out what works for you is going to be so key. As Michael just said here, I like to be needed. If somebody needs me, I'm there. So again, maybe for you, it's more human based. It's more like I need somebody else who needs me to keep them accountable, or I need somebody to keep me accountable. Whatever that is for you, figuring out what's going to work. Exactly, Jen, with the Instagram stories, having other people keep you accountable. I know Jen keeps me accountable on a lot of stuff that I put on Instagram stories. So again, that could be a great resource for you when it comes to other humans. So figure out what one of those accountability types you are. That's going to be key. And then I want to go over some red flags. These are red flags that I have learned about on podcasts, that I've learned about on other workshops or seminars that I've attended, that I want to share with you. These are mistakes that I've made that I'm like, don't do it, because if I can save you from a mistake that I've made, I am like, please don't do this, because I know it doesn't work because I've already done it. And number one is not telling someone what your goals are. I have done this myself where I just think, you have this great session in December or January, you write all your goals down, maybe they're color coded, maybe you put them on Post-it notes in your office or your house, and then you kind of go, pat yourself on the back, did my goals, good job, David, good job, Jen, did my goals. And then you're kind of done. And then you don't really tell anybody like what's on the Post-it notes. You don't really tell anybody what's in the journal, what your big goals are. So then your friends, your family, your community around you, they can't support you. They can't cheer you on. They can't keep you accountable. They can't help you because they have no idea what you're doing. They have no idea. Perfect example of this. And it's everyone knows or has seen this before, where someone has the goal of, I'm going to like eat healthy, right? And that could come in a lot of different forms, get stronger, build muscle, lose weight, run a marathon, whatever it is, but it's get healthy essentially. But they don't tell anybody that. They wrote it on their Post-it notes, they put it in their journal, they do the mantras, they do the meditations, get healthy, all the stuff. They don't tell anybody. So maybe that weekend, it's their cousin's birthday party or their aunt's anniversary. And people are like, eat the cake. Like, Anna, why aren't you having a piece of cake? It's so-and-so's birthday. And they're not trying to detract you from your goal. They don't even know that you have a goal to get healthy. So of course they're going to be like, eat the cake. Why aren't you eating the cake? It's a delicious cake. It's vanilla. That's your favorite flavor. But if they know, hey, trying to eat healthy over here, they might not lay on the fact this cake is so great. Like, you're really missing out on the cake. No, like your friends and family probably aren't going to do that if they know that it's something that's like completely against your goals. So tell other people who you spend time with around what your goals are so they can help you reach them, as opposed to, very innocently enough, detracting you from your goals without even realizing that they're doing it. Because how are they going to know? They don't know unless you tell them. So mistake number one, not telling people. You have got to tell people around you what it is that you're working on. Number one. Happy New Year, JB, fellow tuber. The next thing is picking too many goals. If you are like me, you get settled in to write down your goals, you get out your Post-it notes, you get out your journal, and you write 1 or 2 goals and you put them up. And then you're like, I don't know, feeling frisky. Like, I bet I could do like a few more goals. And before you know it, you have got 10 goals up on that wall, or you have 10 goals written in that journal. And you know, you're not going to get, you do not have time for all those 10 goals. You know that. But like, you kind of got on a roll. You were kind of just like, I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm going to learn Spanish. Like you just start rolling with it. And then you're like, wait a second. Wait a darn second. I'm not going to get to all these. And I know that I'm not going to get to all these. So the mistake I also see is just too many. We get excited. We love a good goal. We love Post-it notes. Get excited. Just stick. I'm not saying you can brainstorm 10 goals. You can brainstorm 15, 20. You can brainstorm how many goals you want, but pick 2 or 3 and be like, these are my like big, I am focused. I'm honing in on these 2 or 3, not 5, not 6, 2 or 3. Yeah, Michelle, I know, me too. You get excited, especially if you have a good Post-it note. You're like, I don't know, these Post-it notes look pretty good up on the wall. And then you're like, and Jen, I know, has a million Post-it notes like me. So it's like, you get all excited with your Post-it notes and you're like, okay, what am I doing up here? So pick 2 or 3 and be like, these are the 2 that I am really going to focus on. Once you have those 2, this is the most important step. Like, if I could sound a little alarm, that's my alarm sound, that it would be this. Choose the right accountability partner. Oh my gosh. Choose the right accountability partner. And you might be saying, well, Kim, what do you mean? I thought you said just get a partner. You didn't say it had to be a certain partner or the right partner. Here is why I'm saying this. And I want you to get into this mindset, okay? Because I know you've been there. And I want you to answer me honestly. Does everyone promise to answer honestly? Because I'm about to ask a question and I know some of y'all are going to want to fib. You want to tell a little fib. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to answer me honestly. And I want you to put in the chat, first answer. Not, I thought about it. No, your first answer, okay? Who are you more likely to listen to? A close work colleague or your sibling? If someone is telling you to do something or go get something or try something, who are you more likely to listen to? A close colleague at work, or B, your sibling. Please drop in the chat, A or B. If someone were to come to you and say, you got to drink this milk or you got to run 5 laps. If your sibling came to you and said, you got to run 5 laps, or your work colleague was like, you got to run 5 laps, who are you going to listen to, A or B? Sibling, couple A's, couple B's. Anya, I also don't have a sibling, so that's hard for you and I to imagine somebody else there. Work colleague, Jeff, Michael, A, Michelle, B, both. This is good too. A little bit of both. I like it. My sister, always a good one. Hannah, most likely to listen to somebody from work. Why is this sort of a trick question? It's sort of a trick question because there's like kind of no right or wrong answer, but it's just like a little bit of a switcheroo. Sometimes family members are not the best accountability partners because it can seem like nagging. If you have ever had a long day or you're feeling kind of stuck in the mud or whatever, and a sibling or your spouse or somebody comes up to you and says, well, I know you said you didn't want to run, but you better get up there and run those 5 laps. Sometimes, especially with family, you're sometimes bound to turn around and be like, I am not going to run those 5 laps. I am tired. I don't feel good. I have a headache. It can seem like they're nagging you because those are sometimes the same people who are saying, hey, can you take out the trash? Or, hey, can you pick up a birthday gift for mom? Or, hey, can you empty the dishwasher? So sometimes, even though their suggestions are helping you towards your goals as an accountability partner, sometimes it can feel like nagging. And sometimes because they're family or a spouse or a close family member, you kind of get a free pass to ignore them. And what I mean by that is if you have close family members, I call it like the farting rule, right? Like you fart in front of a family member and you're like, I farted, I feel a little bad about it, but like, whatever, I farted, like you have to love me, we're family. You wouldn't necessarily fart in front of like a work colleague. I mean, you might, I don't know. We have been working from home for a while. So maybe you're going into work and letting it rip. I don't know. But it just, you have some semblance of like, okay, I can't really ignore this person. And like, we don't have that sort of like, you love me no matter what vibe. So sometimes an accountability member that's not family can be a little more helpful because you're less likely to ignore them. You're less likely to be like, they're nagging me again about this thing. And you're less likely to be like, well, forget it. Like, you're going to love me no matter what, whether I run those 5 laps or fart in your face or whatever else I'm going to do. So you can steal Miguel the farting rule, by the way, but it is exactly, Keith. I gripe to my better, but strategize with one particular work colleague every week. Exactly. There's a judgmental factor with other humans that you're just kind of held a little more accountable as opposed to family members. Not always, but that's why I said it's kind of a trick question. I just wanted to flag that. So who would be good accountability partners? Recommendations are friends. Awesome. Close friends, far away friends, they can be great accountability partners. Work colleagues, as Keith just mentioned, work colleagues can be amazing accountability partners. You talk to them every day, you're in the weeds with them, you're on Slack, you're on Zoom. They can be great accountability partners if you're like, oh man, you got to make sure I'm off Slack by 5 o'clock each day so that I can go walk my dog for 3 miles before it gets dark. You know, work colleagues can be great. Like, hey, if you see me answering emails on the weekend, I need you to be like, shut it down. Like, don't be answering emails on Saturdays. So work colleagues can be great because we're interacting with them so much. Alan, I need my family to be the soft place to land, not the accountability drivers. Exactly. Kind of like that good cop, bad cop. Like, I need accountability to be a little harder. And then I need the family to kind of be my safe space. And then last but not least, I would say community members like we have right here, right now. Patricia, Keith, Miguel, Ellen, Anya, like everybody who's here right now, as Jeff just said, can be great accountability partners because we are showing up here every single Wednesday, checking in. You can drop in the chat, check in with people. Hey, how's that thing going that you told me about? How's this? How's that? A great check-in every single week. Or like the example I was using earlier, whether it is LinkedIn or Instagram stories or Twitter or whatever it is that you use, social media can also be great because we have access to it all the time and somebody doesn't have to live down the street from you. They can be across the globe from you and still keep you accountable. Caffeine break. Okay. It just is helpful when you have a little mix of everybody. And I love this from Elizabeth, as I Vanna White Elizabeth's comment. I'm open if anybody wants to connect and be accountability buddies. Here we go. Am I pointing in the right way? I'm pointing the right way now. Elizabeth. Chef's kiss. Exactly. If you need an accountability partner, Elizabeth. Or if you're like, I'm going to be an accountability for someone else, that's what the chat's for. That, again, we did the goal setting workshop. We love a good goal. We love all those Post-it notes you made. But how are we following through with them? How are we going to actually make sure you do it? We need that accountability. Goals are nothing without accountability. You might as well just take them, flush them in the trash, throw them in the trash, or flush them in the toilet. Either way, bye-bye. Okay. You need the accountability. So let's talk about the accountability game plan. So, okay, I'm with Elizabeth. She's my accountability partner. She is a work friend, or if it works better for you, a sibling. I know that I work well with punishment, or I know that I work well with reward. Okay, check. I got all my things. Now it's time for the game plan. So we got all our various pieces to the puzzle, if you will. And now it's time to play the game. So first of all, we're going to do this in 3 steps. Step number 1, we're going to set our SMART goals. Step number 2, we're going to get our partner involved in a meaningful way. And step number 3, we are going to start with baby steps. So let's start with our SMART goals. Hopefully you remember this from our goal setting workshop. And I know I keep referencing the goal setting workshop, but it is a shameless plug for the goal setting workshop. And also, I would love for these workshops to build off of each other. Not that they can't be standalone. Of course they can, but if we can carry them through, I think it's more impactful. So we talked about this on our goal setting workshop of setting SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timeline. So we want to set those SMART goals up for ourselves. So when we picked those 2 or 3 big goals, learning Spanish, running a marathon, whatever it is, we want to put those in SMART form. So getting really specific, measurable, figuring out when we're going to do those things, setting those 2 or 3 goals up in SMART format. So that's number 1. Next, we are going to write it down in SMART form. Writing it down is huge. It's huge not only for you to look at it on a piece of paper and pen, or Evernote, or your notes app. I know we're all digital now, or your iPad, whatever. So whatever that means for you, write it down. But also, because going back to accountability, when we write it down, we can share it with other people. We can, if you don't write it down, it's very hard to share, because then you're kind of like, oh, it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of this. You need a format that you can be like, I forwarded this email, or I forwarded this notes app, or I forwarded my Notion, or I took a picture of my Post-it note and I sent it to my accountability partner. You need to write it down so that it's easily shareable. So that's going to be step number 1. We're setting up our SMART goals. We're writing it down so it's easy to share. Now we're going to get our partner involved in a meaningful way. What does that mean? We are 80% more likely to succeed if we share that with somebody every single time. So we need to get our partner involved in a way that's meaningful, in a way that's helpful for them, helpful for you, helpful for everyone. So I just want to narrow this down, do a little pop quiz here. Which one of these phrases is better for an accountability partner? So would you ring someone on the phone, or text, and say, hey, Ellen, I want to make sure I go to the gym more this year? Or is it more helpful to say, hey, Ellen, I have a goal of going to the gym twice a week. Will you text me every Tuesday and Thursday to make sure I go? Again, going back to our SMART goals: specific, measurable, timely, specific. Which one of these is better, A or B? Exactly. Jen knows it's B. B is better. B is the better choice, because it's not only better for you because it's more specific, it is more helpful for Ellen, your accountability partner. Because if you just say, hey, Ellen, will you make sure I go to the gym more? Ellen's like, sure. What does that mean? Do I just randomly message you when I see you for lunch? Do I say hey, how's that gym stuff going? Your accountability partner is lost. Your accountability partner is I don't even know how to help you, because this vague description is too strange. It's not specific enough. I don't know how to help you. You have to help other people help you. I'm going to say that again. You need to help other people help you. Because if you do not help them help you, one, you're not going to get the help you need. And two, they're going to feel kind of useless and lost. They're going to be like, well, why'd you ask me to be your accountability partner? I don't even know what I'm doing here. So get really specific and clear with your accountability partner. You want to give your partner both the goal and you want to give your partner the SMART outline that you did. Why do I say that? Because it's actually two separate things. So I'm going to give you an example because I think that sometimes this can be kind of hard to conceptualize. If you have the goal of saying, yes, I'm going to build my endurance so I can complete a half marathon in 9 months. Like that's your goal. Like I'm going to do a marathon in 9 months. I'm going to do the marathon at Disney World. It's going to be freaking awesome. Mickey, Minnie, finish line, medal, Mouseketeer, going to be great. You also need to give an outline to your accountability partner. So again, they know how to help you. So you might say to your accountability partner, okay, Ellen, my goal for this month or this session or this 3 months leading up to it is I want to run 3 times per week. Could be indoor, could be outdoor, not necessarily specific on that, but it needs to be for at least 45 minutes. So you want to give your partner both the goal and the outline because your outline could change based on that bigger goal. So if you have the goal of learn Spanish or something that's like very big and lofty or run a marathon, you might have separate outlines, separate baby steps, every single step along the way that your accountability partner needs to know about, or else it's going to be hard for them to keep you accountable. So the next thing is those baby steps. How can your accountability partner help you with those baby steps? Well, we have to communicate those baby steps to these individuals so that they can help you. So first of all, we're going to plan out the baby steps. And secondly, we are going to schedule them in the calendar. So if we continue on with my example of running the marathon, your baby step might be, okay, within the next 2 weeks, I need to sign up for a gym. Like sometime Crunch Fitness, LA Fitness, Equinox, Gold's Gym. In the next 2 weeks, I got to pick a gym. Maybe that's like your first baby step. Mark it in the calendar, 2 weeks, pick a gym. And then within the next 3 weeks, I want to take my first workout class at said gym. Very specific, very meaningful outlines and baby steps so you can do those with your accountability partner and add them to your calendar in a way that is meaningful, in a way that you will actually do it. And then you're going to add your partner to the calendar invite. So again, if your baby step number 1 is in the next 2 weeks, sign up for a gym. If you add your partner to that accountability invite, again, going back to the phrase, help me help you. If someone says, Kim, I need you to be an accountability partner, and all of a sudden a calendar thing comes up in 2 weeks that it literally says, ask Hannah if she has signed up for a gym membership yet. Easy breezy, GC lemon squeezy, Hannah, I got you. When that pops up, quick email, quick text. Hey, Hannah, have you signed up for the gym? You said you're going to sign up for the gym. Hopefully she writes back and says, yep, I'm at Planet Fitness now. And, I plan to head in tomorrow, or I already went in 3 times this week. So having that accountability partner on the actual calendar invite can, again, help them help you by now they know when to check in. They know when to say, hey, have you done this thing that you said you're going to do? And again, these baby steps are helpful because it's hard with those big goals. You can get lost. It can get overwhelming. So again, breaking it down into baby steps and saying, what are the baby steps? Because again, to Anna's point, yeah, if I say I'm going to run a marathon or a half marathon, that's like huge. So you got to break that down. One goal might end up being like 25 baby steps. And out of those 25 baby steps, you might have to have a separate outline for each one. Baby step number 1, walk a mile. Baby step number 2, run a mile. Baby step number 3, walk 2 miles. Baby step number 4, run 2 miles. Like, you might have to break that up into so many steps. And then having an accountability partner. Am I able to run 1 mile? Am I able to run 2 miles? Like, it sometimes with the bigger goals. Now, obviously, if you have a smaller goal, then maybe it's not as hard. If your smaller goal is make the bed every day, then obviously maybe you don't need 1,000 baby steps. It's not going to be like pull up sheet, pull up comforter, fluff pillow. Okay. That's ridiculous. Like, that's a small goal. So I'm not saying you need all of these baby steps for every goal, because I don't know what your goal is. So that might even be something you talk about with your accountability partner. But I'm just saying, so it kind of depends on the size of the goal. But I wanted to bring up those baby steps because I think sometimes with those bigger goals, it can be really overwhelming because there's just so many little steps. But obviously with a smaller goal, drink water in the morning, or make my bed, or floss. Floss is real. I never floss enough. They always yell at me. They're like, I can see you're not flossing. And I'm like, how can they always tell? I don't know, but they always catch me and I'm never doing it. So obviously I wouldn't need 100 baby steps for flossing. I just need to do it unless somebody has a helpful tip. I don't know. I have not found it, whatever it is. So again, Talon's point, giving yourself a series of small yeses is so big and plays perfectly into my sort of culmination point when it comes to accountability, which I think we are all pretty disastrous at. Yep, I said it, Susan, Everett, like we're all kind of disastrous at this, which is celebrate when you reach every single baby step. Every single baby step needs a little celebration. You know what I mean? And the example that I give people is if you have ever watched a football game, if you've ever watched a soccer game, if you've ever watched a baseball game, you see mini celebrations within the larger game. So somebody scores a touchdown, they're like, oh, they're doing like a little touchdown dance. They're like, oh, scored the touchdown. Or like in soccer, they're like, yeah, I don't know what a soccer dance is, but they're like, I scored a goal. And they like celebrate with their team. Now that doesn't mean they won the whole game. Doesn't mean like, okay, that's it. Pack it up. We won the game. No, but they celebrated every little touchdown, every little goal, every little home run, every little win they celebrated. And so the celebration part is so important, especially with these big goals that you might have, these run a marathons, these learn Spanish. With the big goals, it's so important to celebrate every little baby step and every little win so that when you do sign up for that gym, when you do say, okay, I did my first workout class, have a little celebration. It doesn't have to be crazy, birthday party and balloons, but a little something to be like, okay, I got through that baby step. Because sometimes we feel like, until I can't rest, I can't sleep, I can't celebrate until I get to that main goal, until I'm fluent in Spanish, or I can run the marathon, or whatever it is. It's okay to celebrate those little wins. And it's actually necessary to motivate you, to keep you going, to have you know that you're on the right track. I love Rachel's point here about a mason jar on the bookshelf where you put in your daily wins so that when you have a stuck day, when you're feeling kind of lousy, when you're looking for that motivation, you can pick something out of the mason jar and be like, yeah, like I did do that thing. Those little wins are so important to celebrate. Again, visualize like that football game, that baseball game, that soccer game where people are celebrating the home run, even though they're not in the ninth inning yet, or they are celebrating that touchdown, even though we're just in the first quarter. So kind of keep that in mind and channel that. Celebrate those little wins. They are absolutely worth it. I did want to open it up and say, I want to know if you have any tips. And I know you've been sharing them as we've been going, but I want to offer this as a special invitation because I know there are some people today who are on with us live who we have not heard from in the chat. don't worry, I'm not going to call you out. I can't even see who you are. But I just know, I can tell by the numbers that not everybody is chatting in the chat, and that's okay. I get it. You're a little shy. I don't know. Maybe you're eating chicken wings. Maybe your hands are crazy, unclear. But if you do have something that has worked well for you or want to clarify a question, drop it in the chat, because these next few minutes, I want us to copy each other's homework, collaborate. I loved Rachel's point about the mason jar. Like, we can all steal that point. Thank you, Rachel, for making it. So if there is something that works well for you, share it so that we can all steal it kindly, lovingly, giving you credit, of course, when it comes to accountability, because it's one of those things that we can set all the goals in the world. We can have big, lofty dreams, but if we don't have the accountability to make those dreams happen, they will not happen. You will lose motivation. It's not a question of if, it is when. It is impossible to have motivation every single day, 365 days out of the year after year. You are going to have days where you get stuck. You're going to have days where it feels like you're in mud. You're going to have a couple days where it feels like you've lost motivation. So it is not a guarantee. So what are we going to do? How do we prep for those days where we feel stuck? How do we prep for those days that we are in mud? And that is where the accountability factor comes in. And it is huge. I love this point from Jeff. Be and have a mentor and or coach. Huge when it comes to accountability. You can look at the greats. I know we were just talking about football. Tom Brady, controversial figure. Tom Brady has all the coaches, nutritionists, trainers, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the game. I don't care what team you root for, arguably one of the best. And even he has a million mentors and coaches. So it just goes to show you that no matter how great you are or how wonderful you're doing, you still need a coach. Everybody can have time with a coach. It is so huge. I would also say, again, a little hack that works for me that may or may not work for you when it comes to accountability is sharing that accountability with people that are both in your physical presence, like the people that you see every day, and people that are far away, like online. For me, that's sort of like double trouble is really good, because not only when I am going to lunch with a friend or catching up with a friend, I can kind of get that face-to-face, like, Kim, have you done that? Which is sometimes good, but I can also get the digital version as well. So again, that's just a little something that works for me. I offer it to you. It could work, it could not. But for me, the duality of in-person and digital works really well. So again, maybe that works for you. Maybe it doesn't. I love this from Christy. I have a friend that gives me a code word to remind me that I am off track of my goal. I love this, Christy, because I feel like it would probably be so subtle, and it definitely would not fall into the nagging category. And you don't have to share your code word. But I think for me, if I was making a code word, I would totally make it be something funny and hilarious, because it would kind of like, I know the person would say it lovingly, but if they were like, hey, purple monkey, I'd be like, oh, purple monkey. I'm getting off track here. So I think that could be like a playful little something. But thank you for sharing that, Christy, because I might have to steal that from you. I really like that one. So again, if you, and I know Jen has offered, if you are interested in coaching, to message her. This is huge. So message Jen if you are interested in that. This is so great. We are helping each other, coordinating. We're doing great. It's going to be wonderful. So pick one work, podcast, and webinar a day. Keeps me learning, but I don't overwhelm myself with trying to do it all. Such a good example of a baby step, and hopefully helpful in terms of you can do it while you're eating lunch, eating breakfast, hanging out, taking a little break. You can kind of do a little a little baby step towards it each step of the way. So I also want to say, I know that if it's your first time here, we meet here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't already set it up in your calendar, you should do that. But inevitably, every single week, we get messages of people like, I didn't know this was happening. And every single week, I continue to say, there are 2 ways that you can make sure that you join us every single week. Number 1, you can click the follow button. And number 2, I wanted to kind of put this out there. LinkedIn has just added this little alarm bell. This little alarm bell feature is super interesting. And if you click that on my profile, it will alarm you when this is happening, when there's posts that are getting a lot of traction. So just another helpful thing if you're like, I don't know when this is happening. Another good way is you can go to getcoffeewithkim.com. It's right below. I can't point because I'm not on the screen, but it's getcoffeewithkim.com, and you can sign up to have these added to your calendar. As somebody who is a type A, I wish I could share. I'm not going to do it because it would reveal too many secrets. But if I shared my calendar with you right now, you'd be like, are you kidding me? Because there is literally things on there like eat lunch, call mom, pick up dry cleaning, proposal, workshop. Like when I say my entire life is in my calendar, I do mean my entire life, both professional and personal, lives on my Gmail calendar. So if you are like me and you're like, everything lives on my calendar, boy, do I have a solution for you, because you and I are peas out of the same pod, which is you can go to Get Coffee with Kim. It will automatically add it to your calendar so that you, like me, will have everything in your calendar. We have some awesome guests coming up, so I would highly suggest you put it in your calendar. As Jen said, we have Dory Clark coming on in the next couple of weeks. If you have not heard of Dory, she is an amazing author and podcaster and thought leader, and she is going to be such fire. She has a new book that came out, and I'm totally going to jumble the name because Shelby and I were just talking about it. Long game, short game, how to have, she's trying to mime it to me and I can't know. I always jumble up this name because it is such a long book name, but I think it's like shortcut guide to long goals. I don't know. Jeff, help me. It's something like that. I will learn it. I'm sorry. It's like a little bit, it's just kicking in where I get all jumbled up, but it's going to be great. Don't tell Dory that I didn't know what her book name was. Oh my God, she's going to kill me. Okay, the long game. No, but Jen, there's a second part of it. It's like the long game, but then it's like, no, there's like a whole sentence under it. That's the part that I always get jumbled. That's what I'm trying to remember. Okay, you'll find it. Check it out. She also has LinkedIn learning courses. If you don't know about Dory, she's amazing. But also in a couple of weeks, oh, yes. Thank you. How to be a long-term thinker in a short-term world. See, it was long, it was short, it was thinking, it was term. I had all the right words. I had it in the wrong order. So thank you, Jen, for clearing up that order. So we have Dory coming on in a couple of weeks. We also have Vanessa Van Edwards. She's going to be huge. She's the New York Times bestselling author of the book Captivate. She has a new book coming out in, I think it's about 10 days now, and that is called Cues. You can catch her, I believe next week. She will be on the Today Show and Good Morning America. So she will be on with us in a few weeks as well. We're going to be talking about insights from the book. Another great one. She also has LinkedIn learning courses, as well as wildly popular YouTube videos with millions and millions of views. But Vanessa Van Edwards is also going to be a killer one that we are bringing on in a few weeks. So that is going to be fire. Again, we meet here every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place, with the exception of next week. So I am actually going to be traveling next week, which is why it's perfect that we just talked about accountability, because I can't keep you accountable next Wednesday, but everybody here in the chat can. So I will not be here next Wednesday. I know, I'm so sorry. I feel awful about it, but like it could not be avoided because my wedding's coming up and it has like wedding stuff. So like if I could be with you, I would, but like you only get married once, hopefully, unless one of the princes becomes single again and then anything goes. But hopefully I'm only getting married once. So I would be with you, but I have to do wedding stuff. I'm so sorry. So I will see you in 2 Wednesdays, not Wednesday, the Wednesday after that at 1 p.m. Eastern. Get coffee with Kim. It will add it to your calendar. I just want to thank some new faces or some faces that we don't necessarily regularly see. I want to thank Justin and Bishma. Oh my gosh, I'm totally going to be butchering that. But I just want to thank all of these awesome faces, Kimberly for joining today, and Michael. It's so good to see you guys, and I do hope to see you again in 2 weeks. So have a wonderful rest of the week. Get those accountability partners, make those baby steps, add them to your calendar. If you need, we had a lot of people offer their help today, so don't be afraid to reach out to them because again, we are a friendly group here. But sending you all the love and all the cheers from Austin, Texas. Have an amazing rest of the week.